Hello, welcome to Vital, a mini-series dedicated to talking about mental health issues specifically surrounding Asianness and Asian culture. My name is Tian Yue, and in this video, we are starting off by talking about a topic that we are all too familiar with: stress. Whether they're financial problems, seemingly unending to-do lists, personal relationships, or daily inconveniences like misplacing keys, running late, or forgetting to bring an important item with you when leaving the house, these events can be a source of anxiety and overwhelmingness. When we feel a buildup of these feelings and pressures, we are experiencing stress. Despite its commonness, we do not get stressed over the same thing or deal with stress in the same way. One person may become upset and overwhelmed because they turn in an assignment late, while another individual may feel tense when they are stuck in a traffic jam. Even if two people get stressed over the same event, say a disagreement with their mutual friend, this event may follow one person around for the rest of the day, while the other person might easily shrug it off. Why is that the case? Different personalities, backgrounds, cultures, values, beliefs, and expectations are among the reasons two people may not feel the same type or magnitude of stress over the same stressor. In our Asian and Asian American cultures, stress is often normalized while expectations and standards are often high. In many American psychological research studies, Asians tend to report lower stress levels and stress-related phenomena like depression and anxiety compared to other races. But this does not mean that Asians experience less stress. It may simply mean that the conceptualization of stress varies by culture, so the operationalization of stress by the Western standard does not fully reflect the experience of Asian people. The normalization of stress in our culture has different impacts on people. For some individuals, this normalization causes them to be vulnerable to more stress, and without enough protective resources or influences, they might experience more harmful stress-related consequences. For others, experiencing more stress over time can lead to becoming used to it and potentially building a higher tolerance against stress. This acceptance of stress may be a beneficial buffer against breakdowns and other harmful consequences of stress, but it could also lead to burnout if one does not know one's limits or when to use alternative coping strategies. No matter your tolerance to stress, it is essential to have to combat stress in case it interferes with your life. Because of the varied causes and types of stress, we all deal with stress differently. We will get into the distinct approaches to handling stress, but first, there are two general steps to building your stress navigation toolkit. One is to know your triggers, and two is to explore and collect a diverse set of techniques that work for you at various time points. There is a bonus out-of-the-box strategy for handling stress, so stay tuned to the very end of the video. The first step is to identify and keep tabs on your triggers. As the Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, change is the only constant in life, and so triggers vary with time. Since stress is both universal and idiosyncratic, there are general and personal triggers. The specific personal triggers often fall under common generic themes we all know too well: money, work, personal relationships, and daily inconveniences. According to the American Psychological Association, money is the top cause of stress for adults in the United States, no matter your race or ethnicity. Relatedly, work or school is a common stressor. Whether you're feeling worried about a specific project or feeling unfairly treated, you're not alone. as most of us have experienced this pressure at one time or another. Additionally, personal relationships can be a big source of stress. When things go awry with a family member, friend, partner, roommate, or coworker, we can't help but feel troubled and worried as we care for them and wish things could have gone differently. Lastly, the seemingly small but frequent things like daily inconveniences, like traffic or bad weather, can accumulate and affect our mental and/or physical health. It is important to become aware of your triggers so you can work on navigating them. Now, on to the second step. Build a toolbox of diverse coping strategies that you can call upon at various time points. Since the stressor and you are dynamic, having a wide range of options can optimize your preparedness for future challenges. Firstly, it is important to acknowledge that in our Asian and Asian American cultures, it could be hard for many of us to express our stress since we want to preserve interpersonal harmony, present an immaculate life, do not want to burden others, or simply trust in our ability to manage our issues on our own. We may feel that if we demonstrate that we are experiencing stress, we can potentially disrupt our relationships with other people and negatively affect them, or they may not be able to understand what we are going through. Humans are social creatures, and as a species, we thrive when we connect with others. Even if one is self-sufficient, one's life is more enriching when one garners support from external sources. In the long run, sharing with others your struggles can build mutually beneficial connections. It is really a matter of knowing who, what, when, and how to share with other people. Having a strong support network is one of the most common and effective coping strategies to stress. People you can lean on and would have your back when you're going through hardships. Different people or networks of people can provide different types of support, so knowing who to go to for what matters. Additionally, knowing your friends' stressors and coping strategies can give light into when, what, and how you should share your struggles with them. If your coworker is feeling overwhelmed by a deadline, it may not be the best time. When your parent is sensitive about money topics, maybe avoid conversations about finance at that time. If your friend reacts negatively whenever there is an issue in his romantic relationship, maybe talk to someone else about your relationship affairs. If you do not have strong supportive networks yet, the first logical step is to make friends, right? Yes, that is logical, but making new friends is not always the easiest thing to do for numerous reasons. This topic goes beyond the scope of this video, but a common reason why making new friends is so difficult is because we may have a fear of putting ourselves out there in the first place. One way to overcome this fear of making friends is to start by being a friend. Take the initiative to say the first hello, because after all, that other person too may be afraid of making friends, and by introducing yourself first, you've just helped them overcome that fear. What about when you feel like you have no one to talk to about a particular stressor? You can talk to strangers who are trained to help you unburden your pain through national hotlines. Team Vital has included a few resources in the description box, so feel free to explore what works for you. Talking generally helps, but there are many other options if you just don't feel like talking. To expand your diverse toolbox of stress navigation tools, you can practice small self-care acts or add a reward and combine them with activities that could potentially cause stress. For example, you can 1. Make coffee at home every day to save money and treat yourself your favorite coffee on the weekends. Or 2. Make a to-do list for the day and after finishing an item, listen to your favorite album. And 3. Go out on a walk in the park to clear your head after a disagreement in a relationship. Or 4. Watch your favorite movie or TV shows while eating your favorite treat after a tough day. If you notice, all of these strategies can help one alleviate and manage the stressors of money, work, and relationships. And hopefully, through trial and error, you can discover new strategies that work for you. Now, for the bonus tip that I promised you earlier in this video, redefine stress. Remember how I mentioned that everyone defines stress differently? Well, you can leverage this fact and adapt your definition to what works for you. How you define a concept has a tremendous effect on how you process or internalize it in your head, thereby influencing your attitudes towards it and overall outward behaviors as well. Stress is a force. It can also be a motivation. Sure, it can feel uncomfortable and unpleasant, but this means that you can potentially learn something out of this experience, whether to never do something again or do it differently. Stress is a precursor to change. It motivates us to change. As an unpleasant feeling, like every feeling, stress does not last forever. You just have to ride the waves and wait for it to pass. And the stress often passes when you actually do change. In conclusion, dealing with stress is not easy. It takes a lot of time and effort to know your stressor and develop your coping skills. But over time, you will know yourself better. One big plus about aging, right? Remember that stress is a constant in life. It doesn't mean that this stress would bother you every day, but it is everywhere and an inescapable part of life. There are general and personal stressors, and they usually fall under the themes of money, work, personal relationships, and daily inconveniences. Although our culture does not celebrate the expression of stress, we can manage stress by knowing who, what, when, and how to share with other people, or do activities from our toolbox to alleviate and preclude stress. We can even dare to challenge ourselves to redefine stress by embracing it and turning it into motivation and change ourselves so we can gain a new perspective in life. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope it has been helpful for you. Please like, subscribe to our channel, and follow our social media if you're interested in our content. And as always, feel free to let us know what you think in the comments. I hope to see you in another video. Until then, be well.